You are listening to the Sports and Sorts podcast.
Going back choice, looking up, see ya! 3000, history,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get ready to rumble! This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Not wearing my glasses. Let me put those on. Oh, yeah. I can see you. Oh, whoa. Holy cow. Beard's getting fierce, bro.
Look at you.
Beard's getting fierce.
Yeah.
All right. So, we got a lot to talk about today. Sports and Sorts, episode 130. I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
My name is the Bright Man.
And he is also one of your hosts. We are going to be talking a lot of sports today. NFL. Start off with NFL. Probably getting into some MLB. Obviously an important game happening tomorrow. And we also might have a little NBA to talk about. There was a little kerfuffle happening with NBA. LeBron James stepped in, grabbed the opposing player, which happened to be one of his good buddies, Chris Paul. We may talk about that too. So today, we got a great show, as always. So let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bry Man.
I'll put it on.
GM watch.
Is Cashman still the GM? Yes, he is. You can go back to sleep, Joe. You can go back to sleep. We'll wake you up. We'll wake you up after the winter meetings.
We'll wake you up in April.
When hopefully you get hopefully you can celebrate getting Harper, because I think that's who you really want. And the Blaine, Darth Vader. He waves. Hi. How you doing, Blaine?
Hello.
Packer fan. He had a bye week this week. I think they play the Patriots next week, right? I think he goes to that game. So you don't want to be woken up in April. Stop it. You don't want to be woken up in April. You want to be woken up after the December those meetings, the winter meetings that they have, and then you can celebrate, them getting Harper. Maybe. I don't know. Is it 2 weeks from now, Brandon? November 4th. Oh, yeah. So yeah. Okay. I'm actually not going to be here. We've decided to go to Florida for a few days. I'm not going to be here November 3rd or the 5th show. So we are going to take a little hiatus, but we will be back right after that. And
I believe it's pronounced Florida. No. Okay. All right. Well, it's a Monday, so. Like Milwaukee is pronounced Milwaukee. As you know.
Yes, as I know. All right, so I will. Let's get into this. All right.
What are we getting into?
We have lots of NFL to talk about today. Right now, between the close games, poor decisions, late games, all that kind of stuff. So much more to talk about. We also have some MLB that we're going to get into in a little while. That's going to be towards the end of the show, just so that Joe knows when we start talking about baseball. I know he probably doesn't want to hear about it, although he does comment about baseball still on a regular on that Yankee text. But they talk about everything on that Yankee text group. Everything under the sun.
A lot of politics lately.
Politics. It's like talking about all different teams. It's not just sometimes the Knicks get brought up. Like why the Knicks ever get brought up in any situation is beyond me. But the Knicks get talked about. It's all over the place. It's So
yeah. Well, when the Yankees are done, it just sort of tailspins.
Yeah, really. For real. I mean, and then I look
really
down at
does.
my phone and I have 187 missed text messages, and it's like none of this is about the Yankees. I gotta just.
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is something that we got to talk about from, Sunday Night Football just happened. And something that we like to do is I've been saying this on a regular, which is a segment during the football season, what we've learned. And I've picked up a clip that I haven't really gotten yet. I will implement it soon, probably next show, because I just have to use it. But I don't have it in the system yet. But I'll do it later. So that's a little tease for something that's not that important. All right, so now we're going to get on to a brief recap for Sunday Night Football, which is the Bengals at the Chiefs. It was a pounding, absolute brutals. You know, it happened last night. We had both said the Chiefs were going to beat up on the Bengals, and sure enough, that's what happened. And it's funny when you have Marvin Lewis-led team who, like, plays well to start the year, but once all the good teams start getting their footing, which is usually after 3 or 4 weeks, then the bad coaches start to get exposed a little bit, and Marvin Lewis is getting exposed once again. And it's crazy how the Chiefs came into this game as the worst ranked defense in the league and left this game looking like they had multiple Pro Bowlers on defense. The Red Rifle was under extreme pressure all night. The Bengals as a team looked lackluster. Seemed like they didn't really give a damn about the game at all, and it showed. So what I've learned this week, and it's not really something that I've learned this week, it's something more like you and I have been kind of talking about for a while, and I wish the Bengals would learn, is we've said this multiple times over the last 2 years, and it's time for Marvin Lewis to go. He might be a good coach, but he's been there way too long. You need to move on, change your leadership role. Marvin ain't working.
I mean, that's been going on for years.
Yes.
I've been pounding the table for years with that idea. I mean, he's just not I was still shocked that he was welcome back after after his contract ran out and then they re-upped him. I still can't believe it. Mm-hmm. I just still have no idea. I mean, if ever a team needed a change at coach, it's the Bengals. And the Dolphins may end up being a close second. We'll see. I'll tell you what I learned last night is that, I mean, I would actually even say somewhat yesterday as opposed to just last night. But I think the one thing I learned is that the Chiefs can win the AFC. They can represent the AFC in the Super Bowl so long as that game goes through Arrowhead. As long as the AFC Championship game is in Missouri. If it is not, if the road is through Foxborough, we will have the same result that we had in that game a couple of weeks ago, where it was, 40-40, and then, the Patriots get the ball last and they score. So what I've learned is that the Chiefs can go to the Super Bowl if the AFC Championship game is in Arrowhead Stadium. If it's anywhere else, well, I mean, of course, by anywhere else, I mean New England, because that's it. It's going to come down to, and maybe we learned a few things too. Maybe we also learned that the only two teams that are going to be competitive in the AFC, because the AFC is just dreadful, are the Chiefs and the Patriots. It's coming down to those two teams. One of those two teams, guaranteed, is representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. Guaranteed. And one of them's playing the Rams. Yeah. I would love for it to be Chiefs-Rams because I can't think of a more fun Super Bowl. And I don't want to have to deal with the stress of the Patriots in yet another one and then just having to hope that they lose again. Just to fight off just to kind of keep them at bay a little longer, to keep, adding another year onto Brady's life where he doesn't have a Super Bowl.
Right.
But, But that, I mean, if ever there was a year where it seems the outcome is as obvious as it is this year, I would say there's three teams. The two in the AFC are the Chiefs and the Pats. Mm-hmm. One of them is representing the Super Bowl. And I mean, barring a disaster, the Rams have to be in the Super Bowl.
The Rams are good.
They have to. They're undefeated, and has anybody even really been close to beating them?
They
had one tough game.
They had 2 games back to back where they didn't look great. They didn't look sharp, but they still won.
But they still won, and that's the sign of a great team. Right. When you just don't have your A game and you still win.
Just like in baseball and pitching, your pitcher, you have those pitchers that can work their way through a bat, like when they don't have their good stuff.
The Rams can grind.
Yeah.
They can grind when they need to, but otherwise they'll blow you out.
Yeah. So that's really what we learned from the Bengals and Chiefs. That the Bengals they're not on the same level. They're not even close to the level of the Chiefs. Their defense. I mean, they should have played better, but they didn't because the Chiefs' defense is terrible, and they've proven that all year long. And now all of a sudden, after yesterday's game, they only let up 10 points against the team who has been averaging, I think, like 27, 28 points a game. Like that, it's really strange. That was a really strange game for their defense. But, whatever. It is what it is. It's a Marvin Lewis team that's starting to decline after the first month of the season. So the Bry Man picked two great games last week. I would say two. We said he were games of the week, and I gave them both this title, games of the week, and sure enough, they were both the games of the week.
They were.
For the most part. I mean, there was a couple other really good games, but these games had more implications, I think. One was the Panthers versus the Eagles. The others was the Saints versus the Ravens. Both games were nail-biters. Totally lived up to the billing as the game of the week. Justin Tucker
came down to the last drive or last kick. Yeah. Came down to an extra point miss.
Justin Tucker missed an extra point to tie the game, which made it the first time he's missed a kick inside of 33 yards in his career.
Unreal.
I said this a few weeks ago. Something is up with this football, or global warming or something is affecting the winds. I don't know what the heck is going on, because this thing where kickers are getting the yips is an epidemic. And now it's affected arguably the best kicker in the league.
He is the best kicker in the league. That
miss made them lose 24-23. But I don't want to oversight anything, because like Drew Brees, he threw for his 500th career touchdown. That is amazing. With every game, he just solidifies himself more as a all-time great. The game, was quite the battle, and I thought it was going to take a few games for them to work Ingram back into the fold. But it seems like they haven't missed a beat. Like they are just right. They just woke up right where they are last year. Yeah. And their defense is starting to get it together a little bit. They're starting to, as the season rolls along, and that's what happens with these really good coaches. They work out the kinks as the season goes on. So this way, when December football comes along, they are kicking on all cylinders, and they have their game plans, and this is when they play at their best. They don't play at their best in the first, 4 games of the season. They still get wins, but they're not playing their best football. The good coaches play the best football towards the end of the season when you really need to make a run in the playoffs. And that's what, Peyton's doing. So I had the Saints going 10-6 this year, but the way that they're playing right now, they might even be better than that by the end of the year. So this is just a very impressive run, and it was also a little lucky that they –
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, because Joe Flacco has been playing well this year. And that kick is it's so unlikely. It's just as unlikely as Catanzaro's kick.
Catanzaro making a 59-yarder after missing a 40-yarder.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. He also missed an extra point. So I mean, it's amazing to me. That was just. I don't know what's going on with the kickers this year, but
I thought the best thing of Justin Tucker missing that extra point. First of all, I was disappointed he missed it because I really wanted to see that game go into overtime. It was a great game, but the best part was the look on his face.
Yeah, he's like, "That what did that actually happen?"
I've never seen a more accurate look of bewilderment in my life. Like, no, that did not just happen to me. Not me.
Yeah.
Maybe Chandler Catanzaro, but not me.
Maybe any other kicker in the league other than Adam Vinatieri. It didn't happen to me.
And Justin Tucker I don't care about him missing that extra point yesterday. He's the best kicker in the league, and it's not even close. Yeah. But for him to miss that extra point was unreal. The look on his face was perfect. He could not believe – that's how great – he even knows how great he is. Because he's like, what?
What? I must be dreaming. That didn't happen.
I felt bad for him, but not really. Only because
he's very braggadocious. That dude is so braggadocious. He
got every right to.
He is. He's great, but he is like one of those kickers that's like, yep, you know it. Like he's got that he's
got swagger.
Overconfidence to him. He's just a kicker, but he goes banana. So you have a couple of comments out there. One, when is Pumpkin Spice Tannehill coming back?
Who cares? Hopefully not ever. To be honest, I hope he's played his last game as a Dolphin, because even if he comes back, it will be after this Thursday game. Osweiler's definitely playing the Thursday game. Not that it matters. Tannehill will be back after that. But to be honest, I hope Osweiler does just enough to maybe keep Tannehill off the field, because I just don't care. At this point, I just want them to tank and try and go 4-12, which is a really tall order, because now you're asking them to lose 8 games in a row, and we all know they're not going to do that. The Dolphins are going to find stupid ways to win games that they shouldn't win,
right.
And of course they'll lose games that they're supposed to win, but they'll end up with 6 or 7 wins. It'll be a crappy draft pick, and so
it's good. I would like your team to get 6 or 7 wins, because that means they're not fighting with the Bills for the number 1 pick.
There's that 16th pick again, yay!
And Brandon, he posts, Joe Philbin is a saint! ! Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe Philbin. Another guy who set the franchise back at least a half a decade.
Digging at you a little bit, and he's there. He's the Packers offensive coordinator, right?
Yes, again, he's the Packers offensive coordinator. Hey, does Joe Philbin actually go on the field now as an offensive coordinator? Because I know when he was the Packers coordinator in his first tilt with them, he used to sit up in the booth. He didn't want to be on the field. It still amazes me that clown got a head coaching job.
All right, so we talked about the Saints and the Ravens game. That was crazy. It was a good game. I mean, it was a good game, but it wasn't like the game that you really love to watch. And he says he doesn't think so. He doesn't think he goes on the field.
No, of course not. I think he's afraid of the field. It showed when he was Dolphins coach. The results spoke for themselves.
We will get into the Panthers. Clint says that we need to have start having a draft pick watch segment for us Bills fans. Hey, as long as we can keep starting Derek Anderson or Nathan Peterman.
Oh, we were having some fun yesterday at Derek Anderson's expense, weren't we? We were talking about how.
So I went over the Bryman's house yesterday to watch some football, and we happened to comment about Derek Anderson, and where was Derek Anderson yesterday? And he was.
We were like, we should do this segment about things Derek Anderson was literally doing before he got the call from the Bills. We were like, Derek Anderson was literally delivering packages on a DHL truck on Saturday morning.
Derek Anderson was literally the Uber driver who brought Nathan Peterman to the field.
Derek Anderson was literally pumping gas at Cumberland Farms on Thursday afternoon. I mean, it was great. All the things Derek Anderson was up to.
Derek Anderson literally bagged my groceries just last week.
At Big Y. I think we specifically said Big Y. We gave him Big Y. It was sort of a high-end. It was a high-end grocery store.
Yeah. Oh,
my Lordy.
And then when he wasn't going to come out for the third quarter, I was like, Derek Anderson just realized he might lose his job at Enterprise, so he literally was going to quit the Bills at the third quarter.
I mean, we always talk about how the word literally is used way too often. It's literally used way too much, but it really applied well yesterday in the Derek Anderson conversation.
Oh, poor Derek Anderson.
Things Derek Anderson was literally up to before he was the Bills quarterback.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah, if you have any things that he was literally up to,
please put them in the comment section. We'd like to hear. We'll read them.
So let's get into the Panthers versus the Eagles. Another great game.
It was a great game.
Derek Anderson and Tom Brady.
It was literally a great game.
Mortgage on oh man!
No, they weren't. There's no. Derek Anderson is not getting in a commercial. Come on.
No, he was like the insurance salesman, without any lines. You know, he was like he wasn't any line. He wasn't on any. He didn't have. Any
if you wanted to say Derek Anderson was literally working for Liberty Mutual in the call center a couple of days ago, that would have been accurate. But doing a commercial? No.
All right. Old guys. All right. Yeah. So, Cam Newton on paper. Cam Newton on paper yesterday had one of, and actually during the season he's having one of his best seasons of his career, and that's saying something because he was an MVP. But although
Derek Anderson was literally Cam Newton's backup quarterback a couple of years ago.
That's true. It's true. That's actually #true facts. So anyway, Cam Newton took his team back from 3 scores to beat the Super Bowl champs in the fourth quarter. They were put into that situation because Cam couldn't get anything done in the first 3 quarters. And this is something that I have harped on about Cam Newton for his career. He's just like incredibly inconsistent. He is way too talented to be this inconsistent. And the first 3 quarters, he completed 52% of his passes, which is a little below what, for his career, I think he completed 58. And he had thrown for less than 70 yards through the air in the first 3 quarters. Fourth quarter came along. Cam completed 73% of his passes, threw for over 200 yards in the quarter, just the quarter, the fourth quarter. He threw for over 200 yards, 73% of his passes. This is why Cam Newton frustrates me so much, because he could be this good all the time. Maybe not all of the time, but most of the time. Like he could literally be that good like 90% of the time. He's got great arm strength. He's bigger, stronger, faster than most. It's just all about taking the time to be just as smart or smarter than most, and that all comes in the preparation side of it. Like you have to sit down in the game room and actually focus on the film, get your game plan together, work what you're going on in practice, and get the game plan together. And that's all preparation. And that's what frustrates me. And even though Cam is grabbing all the highlights for yesterday's game, if you look at the stat sheet, Carson Wentz had a much better game. He completed 81% of his passes, threw for 300 yards, over 300 yards, and he had a couple touchdowns and no picks. But I digress a little bit because of Norv Turner, who happens to be the quarterback whisperer and is getting the most out of Cam Newton. Cam has the highest completion percentage of his career and is being more efficient than ever, but he's still inconsistent even in games like this. But it is a step in the right direction. So even though he's been more consistent, than he ever has in his career, it's still nowhere near the elite guys like the Drew Brees and the Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys. And he's not even close to that. And I hate on him because he has all the talent in the world to be one of those, if not, the most dominant quarterback in the game right now. But he lacks the mental fortitude to see it through. And that is frustrating to me. That's wasting talent. You do not waste talent. The talented Bryman, he comes on the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, leaves it all out on the podcast field.
Yeah, that I do. You're right. You're not wrong. I literally do that. Derek Anderson was literally selling hot dogs in the stand. Derek Anderson called me to pick up clothes donations for the Ark. Derek Anderson was literally one of the guys on the sideline of the Dolphins game holding up a sheet to create shade from the sun for the real players. That does sound like something Derek Anderson could have been doing.
That was a good one. I did listen. Derek Anderson called me to pick up clothes donations for the Ark.
The Ark, that's a good one.
That's an old one. All right. Derek Anderson was literally selling hot dogs in the stand. Yes. Yeah. Colleen. Yeah. Hey, Colleen. How's it going?
All sound like legitimate possibilities.
I haven't seen Colleen in a while.
So I will tell you yesterday, first of all, that was a great game. Classic game. I mean, the Eagles got up early. I think it was 17-0 Eagles got up, right? I mean, it looked like that game, the Panthers looked dead to rights. And suddenly the Eagles defense just kind of started falling apart a little bit. Mm-hmm. And the Panthers, look, I mean, for them to go on the road, especially because, when the Eagles are up 17-0, one of the things we were kind of talking about was like, oh, hey, it kind of looks like the Eagles are starting to shake off the rust here. The Super Bowl hangover is kind of in the rearview mirror, and now they're starting to become the Eagles again. And it looks like maybe not. Maybe the hangover's still there.
Yeah.
Because they were looking like defending champions, up 17-0 against a pretty decent Panther team at home. Everything's going your way. In a blink of an eye, it's 21-17. Carson Wentz is in a position where he has to drive the team down the length of the field, not just to get a field goal, but to actually get a touchdown, because a field goal wouldn't have done it. Mm-hmm. And the Panthers defense came up big.
Indeed.
So, I mean, you have to give credit to the Panthers there. I don't want to focus too much on what the Eagles didn't do there. I mean, if you had told me that the Panthers were going to score 21 points, I would have said, yeah, sure, I could see that. But, look, Eagles got up early, and then they didn't put their foot on the pedal. They did not apply any additional pressure at that point. And you keep a team like that with the kind of, guys that that Cam Newton has at his disposal. Devin Funchess showed up yesterday. Greg Olsen caught a touchdown. McCaffrey was doing McCaffrey things all over the field. You can't leave the door open for a team like that. They will push through it. And credit to Cam Newton. He did look good yesterday at times when he needed to help that team get a win. I don't think you can understate the importance of that win for the Panthers. A road win in that building, not a divisional game, but still, any road win in the NFL is huge, especially when you can go into the defending Super Bowl champions home and do it.
Yeah, and I think this is where it's starting to show its face a little bit. Like last year, how they had two running backs, and J.J. was kind of the focal point most of the time. This is where having Wendell Smallwood as your number one back is really showing its face, because when you need someone to help you run down the clock, and when you have a 3-score lead, you don't have anybody to hand it off to that's going to actually get you some yards, and that's a bad situation. So I think bring
McCoy back. They should just make a trade. Bring McCoy back. I think
he did get hurt last game.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know what kind of concussion situation it is. I think it's a concussion. We weren't watching that game because Derek Anderson was quarterbacking the team, and he was literally selling hot dogs in the stands.
Despite what LaShawn McCoy may or may not have done this offseason in terms of the whole domestic abuse thing, let's be honest, the Philadelphia fans will embrace him with open arms.
Well, yeah.
The collective conscience of the people of Philadelphia is, especially especially Eagles fans. These are the same fans who beat up Santa Claus.
Yes,
right?
they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. The whole thing with McCoy too, it's like you don't really know which way to look at it either, because it's so weird. It almost seems like she's being vengeful, and you don't know if it's actually true or anything like that. And everything's getting so like. And like she's coming out with new stuff, and it's like, what, you're just piling on now, like making you look your case look less than. Like, I don't know. It's really strange, that whole thing, how it's going on, but it's still out there. So we'll see how that all turns out too. But yeah, if there was ever a team that absolutely needed a running back to really solidify themselves as a contender again, it would be the Eagles. I don't know. Is J.J. out for the year?
Yes, he's gone for the year.
Did he play as an ACL?
I thought it was ACL, yeah. But yes, he's definitely out. He's gone.
If there was ever a team, and this would be great, because I've preached, like Clint knows, I have preached, they need draft picks, and they need the draft picks for next year and the year after to really build this team up for long-term success. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Time to get into some funny-ish things that happened in the NFL yesterday. The Cleveland Browns. This is a good, young, talented team. And we need to emphasize young, because they are really young. And
I would emphasize young definitely more than good. I wouldn't call them good. It's a team that's learning.
They have a lot of talent. And
they're learning.
They can beat any team. I really feel that way, because they have a lot of weapons on defense, a lot of weapons on offense. It's just you have a rookie quarterback, and that's going to be tough from time to time. He's going to make some bad mistakes. It's just what rookies do. Particularly in their first year, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, who steps in his first year, but he got to watch Alex Smith for a full year before he actually stepped in. So I think they're going to be really good in the future. I think they're going to be good at times this year. But my favorite thing that happened in yesterday's wild Browns game was when Catanzaro, who had already missed a field goal and extra point in this game, he stepped up to hit a 59-yarder, which is improbable. So improbable, the Bry man thought it was more likely for him to win the $1 billion lotto than it was for Catanzaro to hit the kick. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Baker Mayfield also felt the same way, because his look after the kick was absolutely priceless. I'm going to put it up on the screen here.
Yes.
He turned into a Twitter sensation.
Beyond stunned. Just flabbergasted look. Like, he couldn't hit an extra point earlier, and he missed a 40-yard. And then he drills one from 59 inside the right bar. Which would have been good from 69. Yes, there's the look. Perfect.
And they just kept the camera on him. for a good 5 seconds, and he did not move.
I would have too.
He did not move.
Yeah.
Oh, when we saw that, so I was me, you, and my brother. We were all there hanging out, and when we saw that, we all just started laughing.
We were laughing,
we were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you kicked that!" Oh wait.
It was great.
Oh, that was a great time. I'm sorry for the to the Browns and the Browns fans. They're used to these kind of losses, but
sure.
That's still that is, and he was a Twitter sensation. Like, yesterday he was all over. All right, so
Baker Mayfield is gonna. I still think he's gonna be a great quarterback, though.
Yeah,
I really do.
I don't know if he's gonna be great.
I think he's gonna be special. I like him a lot.
I think he's gonna be good, but I don't think he's gonna be great. I think we'll have to wait and see. But another one that was kind of funny, but not because of what happened, but because of the announcer's comment. I was over the Bryman's house. He's a Dolphins fan. We watched the Dolphins, a little bit. So a woman got blindsided by Kenny Stills, who was pushed out of bounds after a touchdown cast. He slammed into that security guard who was leveled, and she slammed into the ground. So Kenny Stills, who gets up and also looked a little shaken up after this, he checks on the security guard, and only to give the security guard the touchdown ball. Well,
he gave her the ball.
Well, and that's but the announcer says he gave her the ball he scored as a touchdown, and then the color commentator says, "I think she would have preferred an aspirin."
I think so. Or a gurney with a neck brace or something. And she got leveled.
I have a feeling he was going to get talked to a little bit about that comment after, his comedic timing during the break. And it seems like the woman's okay. She had minor injuries, but was taken to the hospital purely for precautions. So hopefully she's well. But man, that guy with his comment, holy cow.
That was great. I hope he didn't get reprimanded. Why? It was funny.
Because she could have been seriously hurt. Like, she could have broken her neck.
He wouldn't have said it right. Well, if she had been laid out and there were, people all around her, medical staff.
They were.
He wouldn't have said it.
Staff was checking her arm and everything.
No, but she was clearly alive.
Yes.
So he wasn't. I mean, I can't get. Listen, let's not be oversensitive, huh? We got enough of that crap going on, anyways. The nation of pusses, as Joe calls it.
All right. So
let the commentator have a little fun. It was funny.
Let's get back into some serious stuff here. Patriots versus Chicago Bears, 38-31. Patriots went into Chicago, and their bend, don't break defense was used to its fullest on Sunday.
Bent.
Because the stop on the 1 yard line after the Hail Mary was absolutely insane. But something that the Bryman mentioned to me during the game after I commented about something. So I had said that bend don't break defense was at its bendiest today, and you said not really, like a little. You said it quietly, not really under your breath, but you said it more kind of quietly. So it was kind of like maybe the gods didn't hear you, sports gods, but like you were like, yeah. That bend don't break defense is not going to work against the Rams.
It wouldn't.
And I want you to explain yourself a little bit. And if you still feel that way, or do you deep down think that the Pats will find a way to somehow stomp on your sport's heart?
No, I think it won't. I think the reason why it won't isn't just because the Rams' offense is so prolific and proficient, and the fact that they can just put points on the board in bunches. But the one thing that makes the Rams different from the Chiefs is that the Rams can actually play a little bit of defense. Mm-hmm. So the Patriots could probably score – the Patriots could probably score 24 to 30 points on the Rams. But I don't see any scenario under which the Patriots can hold the Rams under 40. The Rams couldn't hold the Chiefs under 40. Mm-hmm. And I would argue that the Rams offense is just as balanced, if not more, and has just as many weapons. So, I think the one difference between their offenses is, look, they both have great running backs, maybe the top two in the league. They both have very good wide receivers. I don't know about great. I would actually say that the Rams have a little bit of a heads up overall in terms of their overall receiving core. But then the Chiefs clearly have the better tight end. But I just don't see a scenario under which the Rams can be held under 40 by the Patriots. But I do see a scenario where the Rams, with their personnel on defense, can put enough pressure on Brady, can maybe even cause a turnover or two in a game against them, and hold them to 30 or under. But if you're going to tell me that, I mean, look, the Patriots almost got beat yesterday, or at least almost got tied. And if they did tie that game, they would have given up. That would have been another 38-point game to a Bears team that, we know the Bears are better than they were last year, defensively and offensively. They're clearly an improved team. But I'm sorry, if you really have aspirations of winning this, I'm not saying the Patriots can't get to the Super Bowl. They can. But if you're going to be expected to win a Super Bowl against a high-powered offense like the Rams that also have a good defense, you're going to have to do something on that. But they're giving up. Look at the points that the Patriots are giving up. 31 to the Bears, 40 to the Chiefs, 40 to the Lions, or I don't know how many they gave up to the Lions, but they gave up a lot to the Lions. I mean, they're just – no, it wasn't 40, but they are giving up points in bunches. That defense, we've said it before, it's a sieve. It's bend, don't break, but they'll break against certain teams. I mean, I would say they broke against the Chiefs. The Chiefs just don't have a good enough defense to stop the Patriots on offense.
Not if you look this week.
There's just right. I mean, right. The Chiefs, and again
this week, but
though,
that's different offenses right there.
I really think though, and one more, you give the Chiefs another shot in an AFC Championship game in Arrowhead, they can beat the Patriots. I don't know that I'd pick that, but they could definitely do it.
Okay.
And I'm sure they'd actually probably be favorites in that game. If that's how it plays out, and that's probably how it's going to play out. But the problem with that I have for the Chiefs is they can't stumble. They need to keep their foot on the pedal because it's very clear to me that the Patriots look like they might just win every game.
Yeah.
We'll
have to wait and see. I mean, that's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to win a lot of the games because, as you said, defense is pretty bad. But before we get into the next one, which I just want to talk about, one of the dumbest moves of the week is just give us a thumbs up. If you can, just click like, share the page, all that kind of stuff. It really helps us out a lot, helps us get the word out, helps get more views. It also helps for our podcast because we, promote that too, where you can find our podcast. It's audio only, anywhere podcasts are played. You can type in sports and sorts in the search bar for podcasts on iTunes or iHeartRadio, anywhere you'll find us. You can also head over to our website, which is www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. But before, like I said, just give us a little thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with whoever you can that, if they like sports, see if they like our show. All right, so let's go on to the dumbest move of the week. The dumbest move of the week happened early on Sunday, and it happened in London, where Mike Vrable made a head-scratching move where he went for the win instead of the tie against the Chargers to get them to overtime. And my problem, we have different reasons for this. My problem with this whole thing is you can't do this with Marcus Mariota, he's not terrible. He's just not good at all. Like, he's just very unreliable. You can't he's not a good thrower. You can't put the ball in his hands to win or go home. He's just not that kind of quarterback. And Vrable is a defensive guy, so you take the tie, you trust your defense to make plays so you can get back into field goal range and hopefully win the game that way, because that's the team you are. You can't – I don't know if he's trying to put faith in Marcus Mariota, but whatever confidence he had in that game, because he had a decent game, was all taken away after that try at the extra 2-point conversion, because that was terrible.
It just made no sense at all. I'm still scratching my head over it.
And you had a problem with the ramifications of it all, right?
Well, yeah, because let's be honest. The Titans aren't what are they 3-4 now, as opposed to they would have been 4-3, right? I think
so. Yeah.
So I don't know if you've cost yourself a playoff spot necessarily, but you've really hurt your chances. Yeah. I mean, that's a game that you have to play.
They would have been tied with the Chargers. Yeah, they both would have been 4-3 if they beat them.
You have to play for the tie there. You have to. I mean, I'm sorry, but yeah, because now the Chargers are 5-2, and they're look. And again, you make a good point with Vrable, a defensive-minded coach who is going to be more conservative. How do you not? How do you not? You got to take your chances there with going. What did he say? Like, well, you know what? Maybe we just don't trust our defense to make a stop in overtime or something. Like, look, you get into overtime.
Defense is good. That's like the best part of their team.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't really understand it. Like, maybe he just didn't trust his offense with the ball again. Who knows? Yeah. Having to drive the length of the field. But, I'm sorry. You can't. And I didn't watch any of the post game, and I'm sure he was asked. But I cannot think of one good reason in that spot why you would not go for the tie and go for overtime. I guess to some extent I appreciate the aggressive nature of the call, but at the same time you have to balance that with logic, because maybe he's thinking, look, Mariota's a kind of a dual threat weapon. I mean, he's not great passing the ball, but with his legs, he gives us a real chance to get that 2-point conversion, win this game. There was no reason to do that, though. There really was not any reason other than just to say, I'm going to be an aggressive coach. This is how I'm going to coach this team. We're going to win some. We're going to lose some this way. But you're a potential playoff team. It's not like they were 2-4 or 1-5.
Right.
They were 3-3. It's just a big swing game. And the problem I have with it is that by losing this game, if you had won that game, you're 4-3, the Chargers are 4-3, and you hold a tiebreaker over them for a playoff spot because of your head-to-head. Now you have none of that. You've lost a game. They're 5-2. They have a tiebreaker. Not that you're going to even worry about catching them at this point. It's just a boneheaded play by a guy who I think might actually end up being a pretty decent coach.
Possibly. He was a good player. Like, he was – all the players liked him, So it's
he was a – yeah.
This is what he said. I have a lot of faith in our players. We prepare, we work together, and I've got confidence in them to go out there and execute. It just didn't work out. Faced with the same situation, I'd like to think I'd do it the same way. That's what he said.
No, he wouldn't. That's ridiculous. I'd like to think, first of all, if you have faith in your players, don't you have faith in them to be able to win a game in overtime?
Seriously.
Get to overtime.
Yeah.
Put yourself at least in that position. There's just no guarantee you're going to get a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
There's none.
It was a head-scratching call that both of us were like, what? He's going for 2? What are you doing? What on earth are you doing?
And here's the other thing. If you're going to have him make a 2-point conversion attempt, at least roll him out. You had him drop back as if he's Aaron Rodgers.
He is a runner more than a thrower.
Right, you got to have him on the move. At least get the threat, because at least him on the move will pull defenders towards him, and that is what will get guys open in the end zone. He just dropped back. That allowed the coverage to take place. He's not going to make a tight throw like that. He doesn't have that skill set. It was a dumb call, and it was an even worse play call. I don't know. It makes no sense to me. It looked like something very Dolphins. But the Dolphins actually would have kicked the extra point there. They would have taken their chances in overtime losing. But
yeah, they would have lost in overtime.
They would have lost in overtime, but at least they would have gotten there. I mean.
So this past weekend, I went 3-0, which is, I'm going to even give myself a round of applause.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, I have that thing off. Give myself a round of applause. You went 2-1. So I actually picked up a game on you, and I actually reached 500. I'm 500. I am at 500 now. I am 50-50. I'm a coin flip with my picks. That could change after we do our Monday Night Football picks in a few seconds.
What am I?
You are.
Yes,
you are 16-11.
Okay,
that's good.
Okay,
that's
not
good.
bad.
That's good. That's not bad. If you are like 58 to 62% range, that you are making money in Vegas.
Yeah, but let's be honest, we're not picking point spreads here. We're just picking games.
Most of them we not only do
we talk about the spreads.
We pick the point spreads because we give a score. If we didn't give a score,
I suppose.
So there you go. They can decide what they want to do with our advice.
Ultimately, we are just picking the outcomes, though.
Right, picking the outcomes, but we give a score.
We give a score.
That's part of the points. Point spread,
I'll take 16-11. It's not bad.
Yeah, you will. You'll take it. You'll take it because I said so.
I got a 5-game lead on you, right? So I gotta hold on for.
Suck it. So anyway, let's talk about the Giants and the Falcons tonight. We got Giants, Falcons at Monday Night Football. Giants have been a disaster. Falcons have been a disaster. Who you got? This is a great game for me because if the Falcons win, great. That gets them further away from, worst team in the league. If the Giants win, it's great. Gets them further away. It's the watch that we're having right now. The first round pick watch for the Bills, the Buffalo Bills. Come on, baby.
I know that the Falcons' record and their play, frankly, indicates that they are not a good team. I still don't see that. I still see them, strangely enough, as a team that could make the playoffs. I don't know why. I guess I'm living off of previous years.
Yep.
But this could be one of those games that maybe makes me not look so bad, especially when you consider who they're playing. The Giants are just woefully bad. And I don't see any scenario here under which their defense doesn't give up a ton of points. I think Julio Jones might go nuts tonight. I think it's just going to be bad. Freeman's back and healthy. Austin Hooper's been good. I can't see any scenario here under which the Giants don't give up at least 30. And I don't see any scenario under which maybe they'll put 20 on the board. It's going to be ugly. I'm going to go 30. I'll say that. I'll say 35-20 Falcons on this one in a rout. And it won't even feel that close. It's just going to be ugly. I mean, this is a bad matchup for the Giants because defensively they just don't get any pressure. Even with Olivier Vernon back, they're just not getting any pressure on the quarterback. You can't give Matt Ryan time. I know you don't love Matty Ice, but you can't give him time. He's still a very, very proficient quarterback. He's still a top 15 to 16 quarterback, and he'll pick you apart if he's given time. He certainly has the weapons between Sanu and Jones and Harper and Calvin Ridley and Freeman to dump off. I mean, Tevin Coleman, he's got Hooper, he's got all kinds of guys. You just can't give him time. And the Giants have done nothing but give quarterbacks time. So I just don't see how the result's any different here.
So the Giants right now are getting 4 points. So even with the 4 points, you just think it's not even going to be close.
No.
I'm sorry, Giants fans. I'm going to apologize up front. I am taking the Giants in this game.
Oh, you're nuts.
I am feeling like and this is the reason why. The Atlanta Falcons defense.
To try to get a game closer to me to really go 4-0 this week?
No. The Atlanta Falcons, well, yes, I'm going to try and pick up a game, and I think I will. The Atlanta Falcons defense over the last 3 games is worse than what the Chiefs have been all year. That's how bad their defense has been. You can move the ball on them any way you want. Whether it's running, you can do it through the air. I bet you Eli Manning probably gets about 10 yards on the ground today. This is going to be a fun game to watch for Giants fans because they are out. Their offense is going to put up points, and their defense is going to be able to shut the Falcons down enough, just enough. And I have a feeling it's going to be a high-scoring game. I do think the Giants win outright, 34-28. Because I feel like the Giants, they have put up points against good defense. They put up points against the Panthers. The Panthers who, just did a very good job. They did a very solid job against a good Eagles team and shutting them down. And the Giants put up over 30 points against them. But they lost on a 63-yarder or something like that. Ridiculous. They lost on a 60-yard field goal in last second. I have a feeling they're going to move. They're going to finally move the ball. Eli's going to finally make some. He's going to connect with OBJ. He's going to connect with Saquon out of the backfield. Barkley's going to have an amazing game, and this is just going to be finally a reason for you to be happy, and then finally for me to be happy because now the 1-5 Giants will be 2-5, and that will help me out as a Bills fan because the Bills probably will not win another game this season.
You're picking with your heart right now instead of your head.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's fine.
Falcons defense is horrendous.
Generally doesn't work out. But.
Horrendous. They are horrendous. I'm picking with my heart, but I have good reason to pick with that. There's a good reason behind it, and that is the Falcons defense is atrocious.
Yeah, I guess.
The Giants, whether you like to think it or not, they have weapons on offense.
Oh, they have the weapons.
Ingram's coming back today. They have Ingram, they have Shepard, they have OBJ, they have Barkley, they have tons of weapons. I have confidence. I have confidence in this week.
Who's OBJ going to be arguing with this week? The goalpost? Who's he going after now?
Some inanimate object. He's going to argue with the lines on the side of the field. Maybe the water cooler. He might have an argument with a cup. I don't know. He could argue with. Maybe he's going to argue with Derek Anderson. Who will literally be in the stands selling hot dogs? Yes.
Yeah, maybe. Could.
All right, so we have those picks. I'm not going to get into the Dallas Cowboys Skins game. It'd just be me harping more on Dak Prescott and how he's just not that good. They stuffed the box all game, and they were letting him throw. He couldn't really connect that well. He made some bad plays. Obviously, I had mentioned the Redskins have on defense. They have Norman and they have Kerrigan. Kerrigan made a huge play, strip sack, basically ended up giving them the game. They ended up winning the game on that strip sack, which gave them 20 points. And the Cowboys only had 17. They had an opportunity to get in field goal range, but Dak just couldn't come through. All right. Let's get into, before we do that, we're going to play our commercial real quick, and then we'll come back, and we'll have about 10, 15 minutes left to talk about some baseball. We got the World Series coming on, so we will play our commercial. We'll be right back after this and talking MLB. World Series, baby. World Series. Woo!
Pebbles drop deep to left field. Going back choice. Looking up. See ya. 3,000.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman. 75% sports and 25% sorts.
Your jam.
Mm-hmm.
This is your jam right here. All right.
Yep.
MLB. We have a lot to talk about here. My wife posted, damn, those kids are cute. I agree.
They are.
I agree with you, wife. So we have the MLB is finally.
It's because of her.
Yeah, of course. Didn't say it wasn't.
No, you're doing.
You remind me of that on a regular basis.
Yeah, well, I remind myself of the same thing, though. I mean, my kids don't look like me, thank God.
Although your son has your hair.
He does have my curly hair, but that's okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah, he's got
Melissa's face with my hair.
He's got the nice. He's got the nice fro going. It's like
it's a great fro, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You can really blow it out too in the morning with the comb. You just kind of feather it a little, and it just.
You got to get him a pick. You got to give him a
great.
pick.
Yeah. He needs a pick. Pick right in the hair. Great.
Oh, that's great. All right, so MLB has reached its finale. I knew I loved Brian. That's what she posted. Yeah. All right. So MLB has reached the finale. We are in the World Series. A team that I wanted to get to the World Series. The Dodgers is there because I have my love for Clayton Kershaw. I wanted to grasp a hold of that, that title and, be a World Series MVP and just go down as one of the all-time greats because I have loved watching him pitch ever since he came into the league. He's got that hammer of a curveball. He's got location for days. He's got every pitch that in the arsenal, and he's a very smart pitcher too. And
I will make a deal with you because I would love for that. I will make a guarantee that I will do it. If somehow, by some miracle, by some act of God, the Dodgers win this World Series, Clayton Kershaw pitches well, doesn't have to win MVP, but if the Dodgers win this World Series and Kershaw pitches well, I will buy an authentic Clayton Kershaw jersey and I will wear it on a future episode.
That'd be amazing. Because
not long after.
I wouldn't just be happy that you were doing that, but I would love to see that. Like I might do that.
I'll get the road gray because I like their road jerseys. The one that says Los Angeles across it, and I will do it.
All right.
Done.
I like it. All right, so we're there, and it was posted on our page earlier today. The Dodgers are not favored to win the series. It seems like every game so far, Boston is the favorite to win. I mean, they're at home. It's more likely that they're going to win, but that's how it should be anyway. But we had a post on our page earlier today, and it was by Zach Harvey. I'm pulling up the post right now. It's taking a few seconds. I got a lot of stuff going on. But Zach basically said about this, because it was a post where Clayton Kershaw was doing some warm-ups in the bullpen in Fenway, going through his routine and everything like that, getting loose and getting ready, getting adjusted to the bullpen mound, and, all that kind of stuff. The Dodgers, he wrote, this is what Zach wrote, the Dodgers will be lucky to win a game in this series. Just a game, they'll be lucky. Now, that's a bold move, Cotton.
I'm inclined to agree with him. I mean, my official prediction, if you want it, is Red Sox in 5. I'll give the Dodgers 1. Maybe they sneak. Maybe they stave off elimination and win Game 4 at home or something like that. But this series is not getting back to Boston. There's just no way. The Sox will take both in Fenway, I would say, with relative ease. You're going to watch David Price pitch another great game in Game 2. He's going to pitch out of his mind because he's going to be all relaxed and comfortable now, especially knowing that he's going to have a 1-0 lead because Sale's going to show up tomorrow night, even though despite his belly button ring infection that held him out of, out of the ALCS. But
Can you imagine that taking you out of a game? Like the infected belly button ring?
It's great. It'll just be some cute little footnote.
Do you think he's gonna be like Schilling? He's gonna have a little blood on his abdomen.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Oh, you mean the Kool-Aid? Blood. So I have to tell you, I have about had my fill of Red Sox fans. They are the most. We were texting about this yesterday. That's the most arrogant, so full of themselves fan base that I really. And what bothers me so much, too, about Red Sox fans is they just don't handle winning well. You'd think after winning 3 of these things now and having a 4th in the bag that they would be able to handle winning a little bit better. But it's a struggle for them. And is it because, and I'm almost curious, if you're a Red Sox fan, can you tell me, why this is? Honestly, the Yankees have won 5 in my lifetime. And I don't count 77 or 78. I'm not going to be that guy. Yeah. They've won 5 in my lifetime, and although I have celebrated it, I have never, to my knowledge, and if I have ever done this to a Red Sox fan, I would apologize. Usually I only do this as a defensive thing because I never get in the faces of people about it. I really don't. If my team wins a championship, I really just try to enjoy it, absorb it, because honestly, I don't really care about how anybody else feels about it. To me, it's a special moment, and you know that they don't happen very often. Red Sox fans really try and make a pointed attack on Yankee fans. They really go after Yankee fans. And I think Lance brought up a good point on the Yankee text group the other day where he said that's sort of the mentality of the Red Sox fans. They're still obsessed with beating the Yankees, whereas the Yankees are just obsessed with winning the World Series. That's how the fan bases are. And honestly, I think it's very true. I really do. I mean, if you're a Red Sox fan, why such the obsession with beating the Yankees? At this point, you've won 3 World Series. You're going to have a 4th. Shouldn't you actually be more obsessed with just winning the World Series as opposed to having to go through the Yankees to do it? Just win. Just win the World Series. I just don't understand the mentality. Is it because you're born losers and so you just don't know how to win? You've had to learn to win as opposed to being born into it? I was literally born a winner. Literally? When the Yankees literally born a winner. I was born in 1977. Guess who won the World Series that year? Reggie and the Yankees. 78. And you were born in 78. Guess who won the World Series that year? The Yankees. We're literally born winners. And the Red Sox fans are not. They were born losers. It's not your fault. It's just the card that you were dealt. But why you can't handle winning is beyond me. I just don't understand it. Get it together. I've always been a big fan of and I know it's kind of ironic coming from a guy who never actually won a championship, but I've always been a big fan of the Barry Sanders quote. They used to, media used to ask him every time after a game he scored a touchdown. He didn't celebrate. He didn't dance. He just ran the ball over to the ref and handed it to him. And they were like, why? In this era of guys dancing and celebrating and doing stupid,
the icky shuffle
seats in the end zone, why do you just hand the ball to the ref? And he said, because you should act like you've been there before. So that's my advice to you, Red Sox fans. Act like you've been there before because you actually have. You've won 3 of these things. You're going to win a 4th next week. Act like you've been there before. So when it takes place and you're dancing in LA or if it takes you 6 games and you're dancing in Boston, instead of going after Yankee fans on Facebook, why not just celebrate it and be happy that you won another championship? Instead of going on and saying, F you Yankee fans, there's another one. Now we're only one behind you or something, whatever. Try and enjoy the moment and don't focus on the Yankees. Because I can assure you as a Yankee fan, we are not focused on you. All we see is adding number 28 to the collection. We don't care about you. All right, I'm done.
That was a good rant. I like that.
I wanted to get that out because I'm just like at my wit's end with Red Sox fans because they just don't know how to handle themselves. You'd think after this many titles they'd have it figured out. They don't have it figured out.
I might have to actually cut that clip out and give it its own little post on YouTube later.
Go for it.
Yeah, because that's a good one. I like that. That was a good one.
You're more than I would actually welcome that.
That was from the heart too. That was good. I like that. Jimmy Kelly giving us a little thumbs up. Hey, how's it going, buddy? We go way back.
That was from
He's actually a hell of a guitar player.
You're right about that rant not being from the heart, though. That was not planned.
Yeah,
it just came.
That just came out. That just spewed out. I was just like,
flew out of me like diarrhea.
Let it.
It was unexpected.
Let it run. I just let him run. That was a good one. All right. All right. That's the Brian Man's opinion on all this. I still would really like for Clayton Kershaw to actually step up, go big, pitch game 1, 4, 7 if he had to. I would like to see him pitch 1 and 4, and then maybe come in game 5 or 6 in relief. But if he's doing that, there's a good chance that they are going for the win, the dagger to end it all. So I really, really hope that this is how it turns out. I think that the Dodgers on offense, they have bats. I would love to see Yasiel Puig going bananas around the base path, hitting a big time home run, going absolutely crazy because he does. He goes bananas. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw that this past week where, I was joking with you when I was at your house yesterday. You have the great Kirk Gibson limping around and giving the fist pump, but then you have Yasiel Puig slamming his crotch and flexing around the base path and just like he's a moron. He is the modern day athlete. He is a moron.
The modern day superstar athlete.
He's next level. That's next level. And
He's not even a superstar, though. I mean, he should be, but he's been more of a disappointment, I think, than anything else.
It's the Cam Newton. He has all the talent in the world. He just doesn't have what's between the ears right now.
I can't even put him in the Cam Newton comparison because Cam Newton at least was an MVP of the league. Right. Yes, but I mean. I don't know. He's less than that.
I don't know how long he was in the league before that, but Yasiel Puig has had some issues off the field as well. He's
just an excitable, demonstrative guy.
He's been caught speeding, going over 100 miles an hour multiple times on the highway because he just feels like he's invincible and get all this money and you're in LA and all the star power and that just happens. But he does come up clutch from time to time. You do see him in big spots, and he does this in big spots. But you have Cody Bellinger, who's been coming up pretty big. Manny Machado, you can never count him out because he's got a great bat. You have Justin Turner, who is a tremendous, tremendous third baseman. I had kind of threw a little shade at him a little while ago, and I said how he must watch the show because he turned it on right after I had kind of given them the business a little bit.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what happened.
So he watched the show. I gave him the business, and he turned it on. He started going crazy again. So I really think that they have the ability to beat the Red Sox. They absolutely 100% do. They have a better pitching staff, in my opinion. I think the bullpen is a little better on the Dodgers side, but the Red Sox have really pieced together that bullpen in the playoffs. They've been using Evaldi and Porcello in the relief roles, and they've been continuing to pitch them. I don't know what the ramifications are going to be for that going forward, but as of right now, I think that this series is literally a coin flip because you don't know what you're going to get from Chris Sale. You have no idea because even when he pitched, he wasn't pitching great. He wasn't pitching at his Chris Sale best.
I can't.
So he can get hit. Porcello, are you really going to bet on him having continued success? I mean, he's not a great pitcher. He's got a career ERA over 4. Like, he's not a great pitcher. Evaldi, he's pitched well, but he's known to blow up and have terrible games. And you don't want that to happen in this kind of situation. You also have, on the other hand, you also have David Price. He's pitched one decent, and I just call it decent game in his career in the postseason. And that was just this last series, his last attempt. That was his first good game in a World Series.
You got a lot of faith in that Dodgers lineup to be able to do damage here against the Red Sox. I don't see that. Here's the one thing that I would love to see play out is somehow the Dodgers win Game 1, and then you see David Price having to pitch a game in Boston with a lot of pressure on him, a lot of pressure. More pressure than he's ever imagined.
You must really hate the way he goes, because when he's pitching, he's constantly like taking deep breaths and trying to calm himself down. Like you must hate that, because when anybody does that in the Yankees, you're like, oh, he's a coward. He's a coward. He's terrified of the moment.
I do. You know what? I actually kind of thought that until I started seeing JD Martinez do it. Like before every single pitch, he does that too. JD Martinez. You know what's different though?
You gotta get the oxygen, because he's doing it before a pitch. He's doing it after.
Yeah, it's different the way like JD Martinez does it. You can see he's doing that's like just part of his mechanism. Mm-hmm. Whereas there are just certain times, certain players just look like they're doing it because the moment seems too big for them.
Yeah.
You know? And
David Price has a look on him like he's scared out there.
Oh, no, he does. I agree. No, it doesn't drive me nuts. I love seeing David Price look like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because he's on the Red Sox, of course. But yeah,
right.
If he was on the Yankees and doing that, you would be like,
I'd be terrified.
You'd be ripping the TV off the wall.
Oh, I'd be pissed beyond belief. But you know what though? It's gonna. I don't know. I think they're just gonna bulldoze this team, just like they did the Astros. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sorry. If you would have told me they were going to beat the Astros in 5, I would have said no. That's a 6-game at least series, and probably even 7, and we didn't even come close. So, and again, throw as much on Joe West as you want. I certainly like to throw some on Joe West here, but let's be honest. The Red Sox have just been the superior team in all of baseball all year. How's it going to stop now? How is it a coin toss now against the National League team that it took them 7 games to beat a Brewer team who had not been anywhere near where they had gotten?
Brewers have a great bullpen, and they had some great – and they have the MVP on their team, and they shut the MVP down. So
they did. I mean, I want to believe you. I'm like Scully right now. I want to believe you, Mulder, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see any scenario under which they're just not getting completely trashed.
Yeah. I literally think it's a coin flip at the moment. I think that Game 1, like you said, is a very important game. If the Dodgers can get this game and put a ton of pressure on Price, then we get to kind of see. Because if Price can actually pitch in that moment and pitch well, like keep it to 3 runs or less, as long as his team is scoring a little bit, if he can keep the team to 3 runs or less, go 6 innings, give a quality start, then you're like, okay, he might have finally figured out a way to work out through this. But I would still never be terrified of him in the playoffs if I was a Yankee fan. He just would not scare me whatsoever. So I don't know if it's just because we have his number, because we always have. But it's just he does not scare me at all.
I would love to see Price with pressure on him on Wednesday night. That would be fun. But look, you got to figure out a way to beat Sale and win Game 1. It's going to be a crazy crowd in Boston. Kershaw is going to be feeling it for sure. I mean, I'm sure Sale will be feeling it a little bit too. I mean, there's got to be, it's a World Series. Mm-hmm. But, figure out a way to somehow eke one out. And then then the moment for David Price is enormous, because then it's a must win.
Yeah.
That's a must win game. You don't want to go back to, even though I think the Red Sox could come back from 0-2 very easily. But you don't want to be in that position.
No.
So,
right.
I'd like to see it happen. I'd like to see that play out, but I just don't see any. I think at the time Price takes the mound on Wednesday night, the Sox are going to be up 1-0. He's not going to be feeling, he's going to be feeling a lot less pressure than he would, because it's absolutely not a must-win game.
Right.
I think he'll be fine.
All right, so that's pretty much it for our show today. Thank you guys for commenting, listening, sharing, whatever you guys did. I really appreciate it. Give this video a thumbs up if you can. If you're still watching, if you're not, then when you check it out later, give it a thumbs up. And if you see it out there, we really appreciate it. You can find the show on Twitter, at Shane and Bryman. You can find us on Facebook Live, where we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Mondays and Saturdays have been pretty much closer to 10, but 9:45 to 10 o'clock. Wednesdays at 11, and we go for about 45 minutes to an hour every one of those shows, and we talk sports and sorts. No sorts today. Lots of sports to talk about.
Yeah.
We didn't even get to the kerfuffle in the NBA.
I can get a real quick sorts in and say I was very, very happy for the Halloween movie, which made $77.5 million in opening weekend this weekend, which I think is maybe the second biggest horror opening of all time. Something like that. I don't know.
That's
very big, though. Or maybe, I'm sorry, it might have been like the second biggest Halloween franchise opening. Mm-hmm. But tremendous weekend for a very good movie. I hope everyone goes to see it. I gave it 8.5 out of 10.
Cool. And I would really like to talk about the kerfuffle real quick. The Rockets, my team, the Rockets, gotten a little bit of issue with LeBron James and
who won that game? By the way, did the Rockets win that game?
I don't even know.
I don't even know either
because I wasn't watching that. I was watching the Sunday Night Football game. So I was paying attention to football that day. And
I will look it up for you. Go ahead.
So it doesn't really matter who won. What really happened is Brandon Ingram gets in the face of Harden, and it was kind of going back and forth. And then Harden, they were fine, but Rajon Rondo and CP3 getting a little bit of it. What's that? What'd you say?
The Rockets won.
Okay, so CP3 and Rondo get into it a little bit, and so CP3 goes and kind of nudges Rondo in the face, and then Rondo literally just starts throwing punches and smacks CP3 right in the face. And I'm thinking, what on earth are you doing, Chris Paul? If there was a person not to get on, there's a couple of people to not get in a fight with on that roster, on the other team. One is Lance Stevens, and the other one is Rajon Rondo, because he will literally bite you. He is going to scrap and claw and do whatever he can to kick your butt. Do not go after Rajon Rondo. That is dumb. I know you're a tough guy. You're physical when you play. You're a very talented basketball player. Get out of there. Do not even attempt to do that. You will get hurt. I'm glad LeBron stepped in, pulled his friend away to kind of cool everything out, so not everybody on his team is going to be suspended for half the season, because there was a lot of suspensions thrown. Brandon Ingram's going to be suspended. Rajon Rondo is going to be suspended. And that's not something you want when you're trying to build team chemistry early on in the season. So I think LeBron having a good relationship with CP3 was smart for him to step in and pull his friend away. They didn't seem like they were being buddy-buddy. He was, CP3 didn't seem all that happy to have him there, but it was very interesting to see that play out. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. I liked seeing the fire between the two teams because they're going to be competing for the top of the division. So it'll be very interesting to see how all that plays out.
Yeah, the Rockets are off to a rough start. They're 1-2. Spurs off to a rough start. 1-1.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with the Rockets. When they lost the players that they lost, Mbah Moute or whatever his name was, and they lost what's his face? I can't remember the other guy they lost. Ariza. When they lost them,
yeah,
that was they were a tough defense last year. They played tough defense, and that's what actually got them to go toe to toe with the Warriors last year. They would have won if CP3 didn't get hurt. They would have won that series, and we would have been having a totally different conversation. But they brought in a soft marshmallow, as in Carmelo Anthony. They brought him in. He is a mid-range jump shooter. He's not a good three-point shooter. He's soft. He doesn't go he's just not a tough player, and he plays zero defense. Zero.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt them.
I'm still so heartbroken about the DeJounte Murray injury for the Spurs. He did undergo successful surgery yesterday to repair a torn ACL, but that's the Spurs killer. He was going to be a huge factor for them this year.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, Thanks for watching. www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. You can find our website there, all podcasts, anywhere podcasts are played, iTunes, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. Find me on Twitter at EinhornIsFinkel.
Find me on Twitter at @the_Bry_man.
And we'll see you Wednesday. Peace out.
Stay classy, Planet Club.
You can find Sports and Sorts with Shane and the Bryman on iTunes or www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com.